What I'd like to talk about are the two primary ways to settle your workers' compensation case. There are exceptions. You can get creative at times and come up with a tweak on the old system. Plus, if there is no settlement, eventually the case will go to trial, and either a findings and award will issue or a findings and order will issue. But ideally, the parties can come to a meeting of the minds and settle the case without going to trial. If you're going to settle a case, it is generally going to be one of two ways, either stipulations with request for award or a compromise and release. So let's look at those two different options. Stipulations with request for award. It is a resolution of permanent disability and temporary disability up to that date. It is going to keep future medical care open, anything that's reasonable and necessary to cure or relieve the effects of the injury. It'll still be subject to utilization review, but future medical care will stay open with stipulations with request for award. Permanent disability will get paid out, but it will get paid out every 2 weeks. So if you've been getting permanent disability advances, a check every 2 weeks, roughly $580, maybe less, depending on your average weekly wage. That will continue once the award is issued until all of the permanent disability has been paid out. So the one benefit to stipulations with request for award is that medical care stays open. You keep getting medical treatment for your injury, but the permanent disability is going to continue to be paid out every 2 weeks. Now, the option to that is a compromise and release, and it's fairly common in workers' compensation. People say, forget it. I want out of workers' compensation. I want to be done with this system entirely. Just give me a check and let me go on my way. If the parties come to an agreement, that would be a compromise and release. You would get a lump sum check. It is usually less any permanent disability advances that have been paid to date. So that is the standard operating procedure, is they deduct the permanent disability advances they've been paying. But they will pay you a lump sum for the rest of the permanent disability which is due. They will pay you a lump sum for closure value if you're within 5 years of the date of injury. And they'll pay you a lump sum to close out your future medical care. The nice thing is you get one check. You can spend it on whatever you want, however you want to get treated. If you want injections, go get injections. You don't have to worry about utilization review. You get all of your permanent disability up front. You don't have to get it in checks every 2 weeks. One of the downsides to the compromise and release is that it only will occur if there's a meeting of the minds on both sides. So if you, as an unrepresented injured worker, you really want to compromise and release. I'm sick of workers' compensation. I want out. If the insurance company does not want to pay a lump sum to close out your case, there's no way for you to force them to do that. Likewise, if you want to keep your medical care open and you say, I do not want to compromise and release, I don't want to be forced into that, by the same token, there's no way for the insurance company to force you to take a compromise and release. So the standard is stipulations with request for award. The option for both parties, if they agree on it, is a compromise and release. So those are the two main options. There are some other factors which can come into play with regards to a compromise and release if you're on Medicare or expect to be on it soon. We'll cover that in another video, but those are the two main ways of settling your case. Stipulations with request for award, they pay out permanent disability continuing every 2 weeks. Future medical care stays open. You can file a petition to reopen within 5 years of the date of injury, so you'll stipulate to the level of permanent disability. If you get worse after the award, you can reopen that award, get re-examined by the QME or the PTP. The other option is a compromise and release. One check, they deduct permanent disability advances. It's whatever number you and the insurance company agree on. It will have to go to a judge. Either settlement has to go to a judge, and the judge will look at adequacy to ensure that your rights are being protected, to ensure that the settlement is accurate based on the medical reporting. But those are the two options. If one of those two doesn't occur, eventually the case will go to trial. The judge will issue a decision, And it will likely be very similar to the stipulations with request for award, because the judge, if he or she awards permanent disability, it will continue to be paid out every 2 weeks. If the judge awards ongoing medical care, it will be just as if it were in a stipulations with request for award. So those are the two options. Keep medical care open, permanent disability every 2 weeks. Close everything out, one lump sum check.